The 1-2. Swing and a miss. Struck him out, and the ball game is over. And the Phillies' 4-game losing skid is over as well, as Bryson Stott drives in 5. Alec Bohm with 4 runs batted in, and the Phillies added up to an 11-4 win over the Yankees.
Welcome on in. Welcome on in. It's Brodes with you here on WIP. It's Final Out presented by the Philadelphia Parking Authority. Big win for your Phils. They beat the Yankees in Game 3 of this series. They win 11-4. I got to be honest with you. Tonight's win on Sunday Night Baseball doesn't do a damn thing for me. I'm not sure if that surprises you or not, but it sure as hell did not change my mood. Yeah, you can keep singing Phillies fever all you want. Here's reality. The homestand was tragic. Even though Bohm and Stott had big hits, the truth is there were rough at-bats as a team when you were looking for the timely hit. Another Trey Turner. Things like Meza allowing a home run on the first pitch just pisses me off. And I don't know what the hell the Yankees were doing in the outfield. Grisham for Trey's triple to start the game off. The dive in left center field was embarrassing as well. So I got to be honest. I'm a miserable you-know-what. And I just watched this team urinate all over itself against the Mets and the Dodgers and in the first 2 games against the Yankees in this series. So this doesn't move the needle for me at all. At 215-592-9494, you could jump on in, of course. And my question for you is, did tonight's win over the Yankees change your mood? Because there was a lot of offense. Because you watched Sanchez grind. And that 6th inning, getting through that 6, did feel like a massive win. Because prior to that, there were a lot of walks. Or there were some sticky situations. There were some wild pitches. There was the pickoff play that was a disaster. So it wasn't pretty, but when he went through that 6, you went, okay, maybe it made you feel good in that moment. But here's my analogy for you when it comes to this final game on Sunday Night Baseball. This win is like getting ice cream after a horrific dinner. The experience, was ruined by a poor waiter, bad service, undercooked food. Sure, the ice cream is nice, but the experience as a whole, you're going to be complaining and bitching on your drive home about how much of a mess and how sloppy it was. That's what this homestand was like for me. This final game, 11-4, woohoo, woohoo. But at the end of the day, this was such a soul-crushing homestand that they broke me. It's the same underlying issues. They still remain. It's consistency problems. It's one of those things where they couldn't get a hit with runner in scoring position forever. They couldn't defend all homestand. They constantly shoot themselves in the foot. So I'm not sure if people expected me to sit in this chair and wave the pom-poms because Bryson Stott had a spectacular day with 5 RBI, or Bohm had a really strong day at the office, and I'm supposed to just be excited. But this is clearly an extremely flawed group that I don't think they have the stones to do what I need them to do big picture, and it just upsets me because this was one of the worst homestands of all time. Now, that's aggressive. But coming out of the All-Star break at home and the adrenaline from the Home Run Derby and a series with the Mets, a team that you despise, who suck, by the way, for you to fall face first from there, and now you're kind of continuing that same type of effort throughout this entire Yankee series with the Dodgers sandwiched in between, It kills me inside, if I'm being honest. Let's get to the wrap-up, which is sponsored by Roto-Rooter. When plumbing problems hit, wrap them up quick and call Roto-Rooter. Their team tackles clogs and leaks so you can stay in the game. Roto-Rooter, your MVP for plumbing solutions. So, the way this game started off, you did actually score with the sacrifice fly in the first, and that's all they got in the first. And I think all of us probably felt the same exact way, right? Here we go again. They got one, but what is one really going to do? It's not tickling the way it should tickle. I want to see a crooked number or something for me to feel satisfied. Well, then Bryson Stott in the second hit a solo shot. Bohm had the crazy double to give you a 5-0 lead. Stott singled to give you a 6-0 lead. But out of nowhere, that fifth inning came around for the Yankees. And you're watching Volpe with the double. You go, hold on a second. 6-3. 6-3? And that's when the Phillies actually had a chance to tack on more just to create more separation, and they didn't. And it's your typical feels like a loss type of moment, right? Oh, come on, man. You didn't do any damage, and that's what makes my toes curl with pain. When you could make a statement, when you finally get traffic after the Yankees do have a punch back, where's your punch to their punch? Where's your counter to their punch? Where is it? Where's the jab back? You had a golden opportunity, but you fail. Luckily, though, they had a second opportunity to do it. They did. From there, they sort of ride away with this thing. And, just a painful experience if I'm just keeping it 100. So 215-592-9494 if you want to get in. Would love to get your reaction to this game as the Phillies do find a way to, get some sort of good feeling internally. Not for me personally, but for the clubhouse as they go to Miami. And I didn't even realize Miami was on the skid that they were until I heard the broadcast mention it moments ago that they're on about a 12-game losing skid or something. So don't be fooled by anything that happens right after this homestand. They should be able to beat Miami. But they are clearly steps behind teams that actually have some sort of life. And if you don't understand that, then God bless you. I'm here to give you a couple pointers. The biggest takeaway of the game is brought to you by Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. My biggest takeaway is Trey Turner is a disaster, and you can't be taken seriously if you have someone so inept playing shortstop. Whether it's what happened today, and look, Sanchez wasn't super sharp, and he was putting on base runners for free. But when you have that sloppy error, now the pitch count rises, and now he only goes 6 instead of being able to go 7. Those things are going to be your kryptonite. You just can't survive with fundamental plays and routine ground balls getting screwed up in such an abysmal way every single night. It's every night. It's every single night. And I'll even date back to that over-the-shoulder grab he tried to make in yesterday's game, Game 2 against the Yankees. Everyone was pissed off with Edmundo Sosa for maybe his first step or whatever in left field. No. Trey Turner needs to make that catch. Trey Turner needs to make that catch. He can never make the plays he needs to consistently enough. And then when he finally makes one, you hear, oh, man, what a play. This guy, Bobby Dickerson and him, they're really getting together. Oh, it's so embarrassing. It's so embarrassing. He just can't make plays. And it pisses me off. Let's go to the phones and get some reaction here with the people. Let's go to Sam in Center City. What's going on, Sam?
What's up, man? How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm excellent, man. I'm driving home from the game, and I wanted to chime in because you asked the question, does this change how you feel after tonight's win? And I'll tell you what, it does give me some hope. And I'll say this, there's a lot of holes, right? There's a lot of holes in the team. There's a lot of holes that clearly have been exposed even over the past 3 or 4 days alone, and as you were just alluding to. But I will say that my hope, and whether this is some kind of fairy tale hope, my hope is that Dombrowski can take a look at this team and go, tonight's win is what this team is capable of, right? Even though they completely obviously tanked the past couple of days, this tonight is a proof of what this team can do when they have pieces put together, and this is the amount of hits and runs they can produce with solid pitching. And so my hope is that Dombrowski looks at it and goes, yeah, these past couple of days aren't going to be it's not going to happen all the time, but nights like tonight is what's capable of happening if you fill in a couple of those spots, if you can fill in a couple of those holes, and not from someone that is like, off the clearance rack in the back of the store, but hopefully they can fill in some of those holes. And I think nights like tonight help make that point that they're not going to just show up the way they did the past two nights every night.
So I appreciate your optimism. I don't feel the same way you do, but it is interesting to hear that perspective. So let me follow up with this, Sam. Do you think there are things out there? And if there are things out there, do you think Dave Dombrowski has what it takes to make those moves to fill in those holes? What would you say to that question there?
This time last year, I'd say there's no way, because I just don't think that he's been able to show that he's been able to pull the trigger on the people that you need. I don't know necessarily what's quote unquote out there that's going to move the needle enough. I know there's been talks about Braxton, or I think his name is Byron Braxton from Minnesota, who could potentially, there's been rumors that he'd be willing to waive his no trade clause to come to Philly. I think at the end of the day, though, what's most like, I'm even thinking about the fact that how the Phillies, all of Philadelphia is so focused on LeBron, and look what the Sixers have done in such a short period of time. I can't help but think that Browski goes, I need to focus back on my team. I got to kind of just go all in. Like, I have to go all in. You have this core that this timeline is closing. You got to be able to go all in. I would think that's his thought process and whatever you got, whether it's Gage Wood, whether it's Painter, whatever you do, you got to make the moves to be able to just give us at least one hope of saying this year, this is it. And we'll see what happens.
All right. Well, Sam, listen, I appreciate your phone call. Now, I saw the Byron Buxton thing, and then I saw everybody go bananas and say that it was completely taken out of context, and it wasn't actually stated that he'd be willing to move here and become a Philly or whatever. I don't think Buxton's in play. I just don't believe that it's worth investing in this group. I really don't. I don't think selling your soul to try and accomplish the goal this season is worth it, because this team is more like the flawed team than they are this team. Like, think about it. They were 9-19. Then they had this crazy adrenaline push when there was a monster culture shock with the firing of Rob Thompson. Then things died off a bit, and they are at the top of the league with scoring one run in baseball games, one or fewer runs in baseball games, one or getting shut out. That is what they do more times than not. So I say that to say the 9-19 start, and then what we've been seeing as of late, and all of those really poor offensive games, that is their DNA. That is what they are more than they are this team tonight. And I don't think Dave Dombrowski is just going to go full throttle, let's save this thing by doing something massive and insane and wild. And I don't even think that's available. I don't even think that's out there. And because of the new format, I guess it's not new anymore, but since they changed the format, there's so many teams involved in the playoffs, there's not many sellers. So the very limited amount of sellers, all the teams that are in the fight, it drives the price up crazy. You got to go up against other teams' prospect pools. Your prospect pool is extremely thin. Aiden Miller can't even pick up a baseball bat. I just don't think it's worth it, this team. I don't think they're worth investing in. I think this is a team that is dead on arrival when it comes to the playoffs, if they even get in. So I don't think this is sort of a precursor, this game, of what they can be. I think this is the outlier that ticks you off because they're not this enough. They're not this. They're not consistently this. And we know that because they're super inefficient, and they've been that way for 4 or 5 years now, and they keep running back the same group, and we're supposed to expect different results. It's just hard for me to even fathom that. All right, 215-592-9494. I do appreciate your phone call and your perspective, though. It's just one that I definitely don't relate to, but that's why I like to hear that side of it. All right, let's continue talking about this with the people. Did tonight's win over the Yankees change your mood? If you can't tell, it sure as hell did not change mine. Coming up next, your phone calls continue. We'll get into the player of the game, the wow moment of the game, and so much more. It's Brodes, it's Final Out, which is presented by the Philadelphia Parking Authority right here on 94 WIP. Well, Bryson Stott, of course, is the player of the game. I just wish he could have 5 RBI every night. Is that too much to ask? Yes. Yes, it is. He has some good defense, though, for sure. I'll tell you, he doesn't have good defense. Trey Turner. I can't watch him play shortstop anymore. And I know that this is something that isn't really related to this season, but he is so irritating that I must throw it out into the ether. There is no way in hell that man ever should touch shortstop again after this season. This organization would be viewed as not serious, a dumpster fire, a piece of trash if they think they can continue to run him out there. He is a joke. He is a joke. Now, he's not going to be much better in any other position. He's not going to all of a sudden be this electric outfielder. But you got to hide him. That's what you got to do. You got to try and hide him. I mean, what I would try to do is get rid of him. But nobody's going to want him. Maybe if he hits well enough, you can. Maybe. I mean, you got rid of Paul George and got Jaylen Brown. So who knows? Maybe you can ship off Trey Turner in the offseason, and that would be something I would try to do. I warn you, this is not a discussion for today, but every time I watch him, the backhand, the ball goes up. At home, you hear the angst in the crowd go, oh, oh. He just makes everything so miserable. It's a shame, but I look at his face and I hate it. In a sports way, not in a real human being malicious way. All within a sports lens, okay? I'm not some terrible human being myself. But man, does he stink. He stinks. He stinks. He's always making it so much harder for this team. I love how I went from player of the game to this, by the way, in about 0.4 seconds. But you could just say the name Trey, and I lose it. I lose it. I was on the beach today with my family. I brought my daughters. It was a lot of fun. We were down in Ventnor, and someone mentioned Trey Turner. I think I didn't stop. Spit was flying for a good 17 minutes straight. 17 minutes. Stinks, can't play, awful defender, miserable, and he makes everything harder. And this team already has its issues. It's hard to win with their issues. Now you factor in this guy. Oh, my gosh, it's so bad. But anyway, other than that, 215-592-9494. Did tonight's win over the Yankees change your mood? Charles in Bluebell. What's up, Charles?
All right, what's going on, bros?
What's going on?
Listen, tonight's game did nothing for me. Now, let's talk about since the All-Star break. I can live with the Phillies 1-0 loss on Friday night against the Yankees, 1-0. Hey, we pitched well. They pitched better. I can live with that loss. I absolutely cannot live with the loss, how they lost to the Dodgers. They get doubled off with man on second and third. That cannot be allowed to happen, you know. And I'm talking against the good teams, the Dodgers, the Brewers. Dombrowski is going to have to roll the dice on a trade. And it could include a regular. It could include Bone. It could include Trey Turner or even JT. They're going to have to package because without a bullpen, we're not going to do anything.
Well, what if the mentality is this? Now, I do think they need an arm, but if they just get an average bullpen arm and they think the Wheelers, the Sanchez, the Luzardos, you're just going to ask them to squeeze more juice out of the lemon. If they can go 7, then they only need one guy to get them to Duran, or they ask Duran to get 6 outs if need be. Do you think that could? No, it's a very flawed mindset, and it's probably going to backfire big time, but they may feel that way.
Yeah, but you're right, going to 7. They got to get 7 innings out of their starters. They're going to have to. But, we're going to have to do something You know, the Sixers went and got King James. Dombrowski's going to have to move the needle at the trade deadline. I would like to get Mike Trout.
I listen, I don't think it's going to be to that level. And Charles, I love you. Thank you for the call. I greatly appreciate it. I don't think it's going to be this big swing. Here's my guess on what it's going to be. Everything it has been so far under Dave Dombrowski. Now, last year was his best swing at the deadline. Duran and Bader. Now, I didn't have as much high expectations as Bader ended up being. I thought he was just a guy, a 250 hitter from Minnesota, that kind of thing. And that is what he was. Before you acquired him, that's what he was. He was this 250 hitter. He's fine. He's nothing unbelievable. He's not a stiff. He's just fine. He just happened to give you a little bit more spunk. The Duran thing, he was way more notable, right? I don't believe he's going to get something, quote, way more notable. It's probably going to fall into that Bader category again, and you just got to hope and pray that the 250 guy that you acquire who's not a stiff but not great gives you spunk again. That's sort of the realm it's going to fall into. But then I ask the question, is that person going to be a hitter, a reliever, a righty or a lefty, or a starter? Because they need all those things. And whatever they target, the other three positions will be a massive deficiency. And there's no way they're going to be able to make multiple additions of significance. So with the very limited ammo you got, I don't think it's going to be this crazy big fish. I really don't. Now, I guess there was a report that the Phillies were sending a scout to, where did they send that scout? The Athletic reported the Phillies sent a scout to Washington for Nationals lefty Foster Griffin. I don't buy a damn thing about landing something of that nature. You know what I think that is? I think that's people going, let's make the fan base a little happy. Let's see what we can do. Let's see what we can do to get them excited, but there's no way in hell we're actually going to be able to acquire a player of this magnitude. We just sent a scout. Now, if you're unfamiliar, he's got 2.76 ERA and 12 wins right now for the Nationals. That's nasty. But you got to show me something like that before I actually believe it's the case and he's going to be a Philadelphia Philly, and that's the massive thing you acquire. Now, you mentioned maybe sending a Bohm out at the deadline or whatever. I mean, I'm all in on stuff like that. You know what I need? I need to be willing to have an escape plan with some of this nonsense. And if the escape plan is at the deadline, you move on from Bohm instead of later, fine. I think they're so discombobulated, I'm open to all things. But if you're going down that path, it just screams you're insanely desperate. And you are insanely desperate, so doing things out of desperation when you are desperate, whatever. I just think more times than not when you operate through that type of hostility, more times than not, it doesn't end the way you want it to end. When you throw a Hail Mary, for example, okay, we remember the one or two times the Hail Mary works when you chuck it 60 yards in the air, it hits off two cornerbacks and lands in Green Bay's hands, let's say, in the end zone. But you know how many times people attempt that Hail Mary before that one play you remember happens? 8,376. That's all. Just for context. Kashmir in the Poconos. What's up, Kashmir?
Brody, how you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm okay. A little better after tonight, but let's be honest. No, this doesn't change my opinion of the Phillies. Are you kidding me? Absolutely not. You still saw the holes. You still saw the weaknesses. And I know what fans are going to say. I know what the hosts on the radio station are going to say. Well, every team has holes. Every team has flaws. Nah, not to the amount of this team does. Yes, every team has flaws, but it's the amount of flaws that this team has it's just exponentially worse than every team, every other playoff team in Major League Baseball. This team has so many holes. You can't fill them up at one deadline, and you don't even have enough ammunition to fill it up at one deadline. Do you know, Brody, that the Phillies have a 29th ranked farm system? Do you know that?
Yeah, I think that I saw Fritzy tweet this out. I guess depending on what outlet you go to, there's one that says 29. There's another one that has them more middle of the pack. But regardless, your point stands. There's not enough sex appeal with these prospects to go out and get anything big enough.
Exactly. So the problem is, it's like going to an auction, right? It's like going to an auction, Brody, knowing you want these nice items.
I'm going to put him on hold. I don't know what's going on with the phone.
He's talking into a fan.
It sounds like a robot. Sounds like a robot. I guess that's what this team does to us, though. It takes us down. Or maybe John Middleton's making phone calls. He's like, hold on a second. They can't be ripping my team like this after a win. And to be fair, when I think of this question tonight, it's not necessarily does this make you change your opinion on this team from a big picture view. It's more along the lines of, does this game change your mood? Because I got to imagine there's some Philly fans out there that have been frustrated, just like myself, but when they watch the team win 11-4, and when they watch Alec Boehm, and when they see Bryson Stott, and when they see things of that nature happen, then leaving the ballpark tonight or, turning the TV off after watching Sunday Night Baseball, there is this better feeling when they put their head down at night because the last thing they saw was Sanchez grind and get through 6. The last thing they saw was him not be super sharp, but get out of sticky situations. Sure, he walked a few, but he didn't let that come back to kill him too much. Like watching the team get big at-bats when they needed to from Stott and Boehm. Just things that we've been waiting for forever popped up tonight. So did it change your mood on this Sunday? Now, my answer, of course, is hell no. Hell no. I hate this team with a passion. Now, I love them. That's why I get so aggravated every day. I love them, but I hate them. And if you can't understand what that feeling's like, then shame on you and you're lying because we've all been there before. These teams are in our blood, but sometimes when they tick you off, oh man, they make you pissed, and it makes you grit your teeth, and you can't stand them. And that's how I feel about this group. The only way they can win me back is if we have a parade. That's the only way they can win me back. So they got tough sledding ahead. Let's try Kashmir again, see if his phone cleared up. What's up, Kashmir?
Can you hear me?
Oh, no, it's still a little rough. Unfortunately, I don't know what's going on there. Let's go to Sean in Jersey. What's up, Sean?
Yeah, what's up, bro?
What's up, Sean? Yeah, I got you. You sound great.
All right, bet. I'm in the same boat as you. I love this team, but I also hate. I don't think they have enough. Even after tonight, it's like they won one game Sunday night. Pitcher wasn't great. Like, I don't know. We know what this team is. Like, come October, the bats are going to go cold. Starting pitching could only get you so far. And this year, the bullpen's arguably probably the worst they have since, like, 2022. Like, we had Duran, but between the starting pitching and him, it's awful. Like, I just don't think they have enough. Even at the deadline, like, they don't have the prospects, like you said. But I did see something about Buxton waiving his trade clause to come to Philly. I don't know how true that is.
Yeah, I've seen people debunk that. So I listen. I don't. And here's another thing too. I just until I see something of that nature, I'm not going to believe something of that nature is going to happen. This guy has been outwardly speaking forever about him never being willing to move that, and I don't think it's happening. I think some of this stuff is getting out of context, and it's kind of you doing its social media thing where it's getting taken to an nth degree where it wasn't necessarily supposed to get to this level, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah, so, all right, let me ask you this. When it comes to this squad, though, when you watch them every night, what is it that bothers you the most about them? When you sit down and then you start to see that their identity is playing out right in front of your eyes, what is it that ticks you off the most about it? Because for me, I mean, it's the shortstop. I cannot stand this guy. I cannot stand it. He's so bad. But what do you say, Sean?
For me, I know Turner's been really bad. And for me, just the offense in general pisses me off. Like, you have Turner, Schwarber, Harper, and they go cold. Like, Harper right now, I don't even know what he's hitting. Marsh is hitting like 150 since July. Like, it's been brutal. And, like, the back end of the lineup, sometimes once in a blue moon, they come through and score some runs. But besides that, they're usually, like, auto outs. Like, they just can't hit, and it pisses me off because the starting pitching, like, even in the bullpen games when Nola pitches, like, they don't give, like, the last few starts for Nola in the bullpen, it's been like 2-3 runs they've given up, I think, like, and then they just put up one run and lose. Like,
Right.
It's just frustrating to watch.
Yeah,
especially
that
with
happened.
the money, like $300
Yeah.
million payroll, if you can't score runs. Like,
No,
you're
you're
not gonna
right.
win if you can't score runs.
Yeah, that happened with the fifth starter. And thank you, Sean. I appreciate it. The fifth starter, which we've all been complaining about, you always lose those games. They allowed 3 runs the other day and lost to the Yankees. Now, I would love to take a shot at Ozempic Alvarado because he's the one that allowed that blast to make it a 2-run game. But ultimately, 3 runs shouldn't be the death of you, but it is with this group. And you're right, Bryce Harper, I mean, yeah. Fine. Marsh coming back down to reality. They're already platooning him again. Your all-star outfielder is getting platooned. Yikes. Let's go to Linda in Brooklyn. Hello, Linda.
Hello, sweetheart. Thank you for taking my call.
Of course.
Yeah, and wasn't it, now, has it changed my mood? Yes, because I was disappointed at first, but it made me happy that they won tonight.
Okay. All right. That's fair enough. Now, do you think, Linda, deep down in your gut, that this team has what it takes to do the unthinkable and win a championship?
Yes, because look at the years. 4 years in a row, we were straight there at the playoffs, and we played. So, I don't know what's happened since then, right? But, I believe we can get to that level again if they all do the things that they're doing now, feeling confident about themselves and that they can capable of doing this. I think we can get there again. I have faith in these guys.
Well, I hope you're right, Linda, because you know what I need in my life? That type of optimism. Because I know you listen all the time, and I love you, and I appreciate that. But I am so negative all the time with this team that maybe you can inject
we haven't been playing well.
We haven't. No, we haven't. We haven't.
Been playing well.
Yeah. Well, look, do you want to add anything else, Linda? The floor is yours. You can say whatever you please about this team.
I'm so happy. No, but you know what? But hear me out now, bros. Now they can, they play. Sometimes they play well, and sometimes they play, But But they still have the arsenal to be able to get to take the parade. I believe that because we did it one time, 4 straight times in a row. We can do it again.
I hope you're right, Linda.
And this is what I'm hoping for.
I hope you're right.
I hope it worked out.
Linda, I love you. I love you, Linda.
I love you too, sweetheart.
Thank you very much for the phone call. She puts a smile on my face. Now, here's what I'll say. Here's my optimistic statement based off of optimistic Linda. Okay? When they went to the World Series in 22, and they were going down the backstretch trying to make the playoffs, they smelled like garbage to me. And I said, this team sucks. This team's pathetic. I even remember having me and Gilio talk about it to this day. Looking back, we wondered if it even was worth making the playoffs. And look at where they went. So if they want to do the famous hashtag flip Brodes the double bird, which is what happened during that time. Every single night, flip Brodes the double bird. Hashtag flip Brodes the double bird. They just kept winning. Flip Brodes the double bird. It had some hot traction. Well, maybe they can do that again. Do I think it's going to happen again? No. But just to build off of optimistic Linda there. All righty. That is going to do it for Final Out.